Hello, friends. My name is Alex, and I'm really excited to start this investing course on my YouTube channel. When I started my investing journey, I didn't really know how to start and what to do, and I made all the possible mistakes. The purpose of this course is to be the course I wish I had when I started to invest. Now, after beating the popular indexes S&P 500 and the Nasdaq for a considerable amount of time, I want to share my knowledge and experience with new investors to make it simple and easy to enter the fascinating world of investing. This course will start with the most basic concepts and gradually progress to more advanced concepts of investing and finance. I want to emphasize that the course is for everyone, and it does not require any prior knowledge, except maybe very basic math. Of course, if you have any question or something isn't clear, feel free to leave a comment with your question, or you can write to me directly to this mail. In my opinion, to be a successful investor, we must understand the whole process that leads us eventually to pick the right stocks for us. I separate this knowledge path to 5 different steps, when each step is the basis for the next. These steps are basic understanding of the stock market, investing mindset, company financials, company quality, and valuation. During the course, we'll go in depth into each topic with simple explanations and real-life examples from my investing experience. If you want to learn more about investing and you're interested in managing and growing your own capital, please visit my website for more advanced courses. You can also join my investing group on Patreon, where I share my portfolio, bring up new investing ideas, summarize earning calls, and discuss various topics related to investing. You can find all the links in the description below and in the pinned comment. In this video, we'll start with a few basic topics. We'll talk about the financial markets. What is a stock? And what's the idea behind the investing process? Okay, so let's start with a brief overview and talk about the financial market in general. Financial markets are basically digital marketplaces where buyers and sellers come together to trade financial instruments like stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities, and derivatives. These markets are complicated systems designed to do one simple thing: the exchange of money and assets between the participants. As participants, we only see the amount of money being changed in our brokerage account, but behind the scenes there are a lot of things going on. All the assets that can be traded in the financial markets are called financial instruments. They are the backbone of the finance world, enabling the flow of capital to individuals or institutions to achieve their financial goals. Among the financial instruments that can be traded are stocks, ETFs, bonds, options, foreign exchange, and futures, but we of course will focus on stocks. So, what is a stock? A stock, also known as a share, represents a unit of ownership in a company. For example, if a company has a total of 10 shares and I own 2 shares, it means that I own 20% of the company. So basically, shares of a company represent a partial ownership of the company, and it's very important to emphasize that. We will discuss it more later in the course, but it's important to understand that we, as investors, need to choose the stocks we buy as if we are buying the business itself. Although it's a very small part of business, we need to buy stocks according to the business performance and not other factors like the stock's past performance or the popularity of the stock. So we talked about owning stocks with a state of mind of owning the whole business. But what does it actually mean to own a part of a company? Well, theoretically, it gives you certain rights. You may receive periodic payments from the company's profits, known as dividends. You may have the right to vote on important company matters, such as electing board members. As the company grows and becomes more valuable, the value of your shares may increase, leading to potential capital gains. In case of bankruptcy, a company sells its assets, and you may receive part of the profits, or if the company gets bought by another entity, you'll receive your part of the company's value. All that said, we have to remember that usually we'll own only a small, tiny fraction of a company, since companies can be valued in billions of dollars and even more than $1 trillion. That's why the most relevant outcome for us will be the stock price will go up. Okay, so now we know what a stock is. But why do we need stocks? Why did somebody invent them? Well, we probably don't need stocks, but companies do. You see, in order for a company to grow and expand, it must invest in money for its own development. It can be building a new factory, hiring more software developers, starting new research, or using more advertisements. No matter what the company wants to do, it will probably cost money, and that's exactly the purpose of stock. Companies sell shares, part of the company, to investors in order to raise money for its own development. Ideally, this process of raising money by selling shares of the company should be a win-win for both sides, the original owner of a company and the investors. Let's break down the situation. Assume a company worth $1 million. The owner of the company has a business plan to develop a few new products, but he needs about $250,000 to hire engineers and buy new machines. In order to raise the money, the owner sells a quarter of his company to an investor for $250,000. At first, nothing changed. The company owner used to own 100% of a $1 million company. Now he owns 75% of a $1 million company, which is worth $750,000. But this company now owns an additional $250,000 in cash. The investor used to own $250,000 in cash, but now he owns 25% of a $1 million company, which is also worth $250,000. Now, the idea is that after a certain amount of time, the owner will use this cash to develop the company, so the company will earn more money each year. If that really happens, and the company earns more money, it should be worth more. Let's say $2 million. Now, the original owner owns 75% of a $2 million company, which is worth $1.5 million. We assume all the money was spent during that time. The investor now owns 25% of the $2 million company, which is worth $500,000. Both the original owner and the investor are now richer, and you now understand the win-win proposition of investing. But what happens if the company used all the money and still didn't succeed to develop the new product? And not only that, they can't keep up with the current competition and sell even less than before. In that case, the company will be worth less than before. Let's say only $500,000. Now the original owner lost a quarter of his company, and the remaining part is worth only $375,000. The investor still has 25% of the company, but he's lost half his money because his part of the company is worth only $125,000. That's the other side of investing when investors make bad decisions. Of course, this example is oversimplified, and it meant only to illustrate the idea behind investing in stocks. In reality, there are more moving parts and more things to consider when investing, and if you do it right, you can be a consistently profitable investor and build your fortune over time. Now let's get back for a second to our optimistic scenario when the company grew in value to $2 million. The investor is still holding 25% of the company that is worth $500,000. He made a nice profit of 100% on his investment, but the profit is only on paper. Although this part of the company is worth $500,000, he doesn't really own $500,000. For him, to get the money in cash, he has to sell his stock for $500,000. And that's where the stock market comes in. Through the stock market, he can sell his stocks to other investors who want to buy shares of the company. Obviously, it would be very difficult for him to just look for people who want to buy the stocks, but the stock market, especially the American stock market, is aggregating all the potential buyers from all over the world. The investor just needs to make a sell order in his brokerage account, and any potential buyers will have the opportunity to buy the stock. Usually, stocks are traded on the stock market at relatively low prices, such as tens or hundreds of dollars. The reasons for the relatively low price for a single share are convenience and accessibility. The stock market strives to be accessible to the average investor, and the average investor is probably capable of buying a stock that costs $100, but probably can't buy one stock that costs $100,000. At this point, you are starting to understand that the price of a single share depends on how many stocks the company issued, or in other words, to how many units of ownership the company is divided. It's a bit more complicated than that, and we will discuss this topic more later, but in simple terms, if a company is worth $1 million and issued 10,000 shares, each share will be worth $100. It's 1 million divided by 10,000. If the same company issued 100,000 shares, each share will be worth $10. It's 1 million divided by 100,000. Okay, so as I said, in this video we talked about the most basic stuff, and we will gradually expand our knowledge during the rest of the course. Thank you for sticking till the end. If you like the content and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.